In the heart of ancient Persia, where palaces shimmered with gold and secrets whispered through marble halls, lived a young woman named Esther. She was not born into royalty. She was a Jewish girl, orphaned at a young age and raised by her cousin Mordecai. But even in her humble beginnings, God was preparing her for something greater. When the king of Persia sought a new queen, many young women were brought to the palace. Among them was Esther. She was gentle, wise, and beautiful, not only on the outside, but in spirit. And when the king saw her, he chose her to be queen. But Esther kept her Jewish identity a secret, just as Mordecai had advised. Life in the palace seemed peaceful, until an evil man named Haman rose to power. Haman hated the Jews, especially Mordecai, because Mordecai refused to bow to him. Fueled by pride and rage, Haman convinced the king to sign a terrible law. On a certain day, all the Jews in the land would be destroyed. Mordecai tore his clothes in sorrow and sent a message to Esther. "Go to the king. Beg for mercy. Save our people." But Esther was afraid. She hadn't been called to see the king in over a month. And in Persia, anyone who entered the king's presence without being summoned could be put to death. Still, Mordecai's words echoed in her heart. Mordecai said, "Do not think that because you are in the palace, you will escape. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this?" Esther knew what she had to do. She called for a fast, 3 days of no food or drink, and asked her people to pray with her. Then, dressed in her royal robes, Esther walked slowly toward the throne room, her heart pounding. The king looked up at her and smiled. He extended his golden scepter, the sign that her life was spared. The king said, "What is your request, Queen Esther? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given to you." Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet, and at that banquet she invited them to another one. At the second banquet, Esther finally spoke. "If I have found favor in your eyes, O king, spare my life and the lives of my people, for we are to be destroyed." The king was shocked and outraged. "Who would dare do such a thing?" Esther said, "The enemy is Haman." The king was furious. That very day, Haman was punished for his wicked plans, and a new law was written to protect the Jewish people. Because one woman chose to rise up in courage, because she trusted in God, a nation was saved. Esther's story reminds us that bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about doing the right thing even when we're afraid. And who knows, perhaps you were created for such a time as this.